everybody, welcome back. Today I have Harrison here. We're just going to do a little update on him. He is now officially 2 weeks post-op from surgery. As some of you know, he had a cranial vault reconstruction done on his head. He was born with sagittal craniosynostosis, and on June 24th, he underwent surgery to have his skull remodeled. And so he is doing great. He is a completely different baby and still the same baby. We have noticed a big improvement in him since his surgery, and I want to share with you some of those things that we have noticed with him. So he's currently trying to get the camera. Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Say hi, Harrison. Okay, so here's Mr. Harrison here wearing his Cranio Warrior shirt that Curtis and I made for him with our t-shirt vinyl printer that we have, cutter thing. Yeah, you know what I mean. Here, I'm gonna give him a toy. Here, play with that. So Harrison is 2 weeks post-op, and he was sent home. Well, we were discharged the Friday after his surgery. His surgery happened on a Monday, and so we were discharged that Friday with instructions on what to do for him. He was given 3 different pain medications as well as an antibiotic. And so when we were discharged, he was still on the narcotic that he was prescribed, and we gave that to him for a couple days, and then we weaned him off of it. And he is still currently on the Tylenol and ibuprofen because we noticed that at night we assume he's still in pain. We're not 100% sure if it's pain or if it's a mixture between pain and mental. But he's still on Tylenol and ibuprofen at night because when we put him down, he screams very loud. So we give him that at night as a way to help soothe him. We find that it has been helping. We still have problems trying to get him down into bed. It usually takes about an hour after he takes a bottle to get him asleep. But at least he's not screaming. What he did before is when we would put him in his crib, he would automatically start screaming. And that would happen regardless if we rocked him to sleep and then laid him down in his crib, or if we laid him directly down into his crib. It happened either way. And so is what we kept doing is kept giving him the pain meds at night, and we would turn on his white noise machine, rock him to sleep. And we've noticed that in combination of doing the rocking, the medication, and his white noise machine, it has been helping him sleep, go to sleep easier than what he had been doing previously. As you just heard, he is a lot more vocal. He laughs, he screams, he makes all sorts of noises, he smiles more. What? He is just 100% the same baby, but a happier baby. Prior to his surgery, he wouldn't necessarily cry all day long, but he would grunt and do a whining type noise. And he's essentially on he was on a 4-hour schedule where he would take a nap anywhere between 1 to 2 hours, and then he would be up between 1 to 3 hours, and he would eat and he would play, things like that, and then everything would start over again. And when he was up prior to surgery, he would grunt and he would whine for more than half of that time frame. And so it made things really hard and difficult because he was just a very unhappy baby. He wasn't interested in a lot of things. And when he was quiet, I would sit and wait and wonder when he would start to whine again. And after his surgery, we kind of attributed the noises that he made to him having a headache, because he does not do those noises anymore. And so we're thinking that he had, even though he didn't have any sort of intracranial pressure, he most likely was having headaches, and that was causing him some sort of pain, because now he's a completely different baby. Okay, hold on. I've got him down here. He's drinking a bottle. One thing I have noticed after his surgery is that he is very up and down in regards to his days, which according to a lot of other moms in this cranio group that I'm in on Facebook called Cranio Kid, the babies essentially have sleep issues and even day-to-day issues or disruptions because of the surgery. The anesthesia really affects them, and it throws off their sleeping patterns, and in turn can throw off their day-to-day patterns. And so Harrison, he sleeps through the night, but at least these past couple days, he's been having some problems with his naps. He's only been taking about 20-minute naps 2 times a day, whereas earlier last week he would take a 2-hour nap in the morning, and then he would take about a half-hour, 45-minute nap in the afternoon. And so you know, he's up and down in regards to his naps. He essentially was on a schedule, you know, a 4-hour schedule, but with his naps I try to keep them within that same time frame, but he essentially is feeding on demand currently, because he's 1, hungry, and 2, he lost quite a bit of weight since surgery. And so I've just been letting him eat. And then also too, we have been introducing him to table food, the foods that we've been eating. And so he takes a bottle on demand, but then at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he gets food from our plates that we're eating. And so we're introducing him to eating our meals while simultaneously taking his bottle. Okay, so I want to show you his incision. His surgeon told us not to do anything to his head, essentially leave it alone, no scrubbing it, no immersing it in water or anything like that. So we've just kind of been leaving it alone. I do, when I wash his head, I do try to get a little bit close enough to his incision, but I don't scrub or anything like that. So his head's looking great. He doesn't have any redness around his incision site. I have noticed that he kind of plays with the sutures on one side of his head because they are a bit longer, and I'm assuming that is the ending part of the suture area, so he does kind of play with those a little bit. And his hair is actually growing slowly, but it's longer than what it was when he came out of surgery. And so overall his head's looking great. The swelling that he had lasted for a good week. By the time that we were discharged, he was still pretty puffy around his eyes, and his head was still pretty swollen. By the Saturday after we were discharged, he was able to fully open his eyes. He didn't have any puffiness. And then 3 days after that, a lot of the swelling in his head went away, and so we were able to see a lot of the indentations and the dents and the general roughness of his skull post-surgery. And for a good week, there were still some spots in the back of his head where you could feel some fluid, and that has gone away. I haven't felt any other fluid-like areas, so he probably does have some pockets deep inside his head, but as for the outer layer of his skull, I'm not feeling anything. And so the fluid and the swelling is normal. You know, after undergoing a, what you doing with the bottle, Bubba? After undergoing a surgery such as his, there will be some swelling for quite some time, and so everything is normal. All right, so I've got him laying on this pillow here. Hopefully he does not move. Anytime he sees my camera, he is a little bit of a booger. So, okay, this is the side of his head where his drain was. Tilt your head, Bubba. So this little scab right there was where the drain was inserted into his head that drained all the excess fluid and blood. And so this is the incision, I'm assuming ending point, because the sutures here are the longest, and this is what he plays with the most. He's got a couple little scabs throughout his head, but overall everything is looking great. He doesn't have any sort of redness or draining anywhere. So you can see it here if he turns his head, but on his right side, Harrison, look at mommy. He has a indent right there. He has an indentation. We noticed that came about as soon as the swelling went away. Want the spatula? Ooh, yeah. We noticed that came about as soon as the swelling went away. And then he does have some areas on his head where you can see the screws, which is completely normal. You can also see right here the line, essentially the line where we assume the surgeon had begin the cut and remove the top portion of his head. So it goes all the way around his head, and you trying to grab the camera? Yeah. And he is not cooperating right now, but you know, there's a good look at his head. And like I said before, he had sagittal craniosynostosis, and he had a complete vault reconstruction, or a CVR, done on his head. And so he no longer has any soft spots. He has bone intermixed with dissolvable mesh plates and screws. So as he grows, the plates will dissolve and bone will grow in its place instead. And his skull will form the normal curvature skull that you see on, you know, you and me. And so his scar will be permanent, and I do have some ideas of hairstyles that I want to do once he's all healed that will show off his scar, because you know, he's going to have this scar for the rest of his life. Why not show it off and be proud of what it entails? And so as soon as he's okay, we're going to give him a haircut. Well, first off, he has to get hair. He's slowly getting hair, but he needs more hair. And then once that comes about, I'll give him a couple different hairstyles that'll show off his scar on the side of his head. But for now, that is how he's doing. We go in next week, a week from today, for his post-op appointment with his craniofacial plastic surgeon. I'll give you an update of how that goes, as I'm interested to see what his surgeon says, especially in regards to the indent. And I'd like to see what, you know, what information or pictures or anything like that his surgeon has of his skull, so that we can kind of get an idea of what his head looks like now. Now, before I go, I want to show you Harrison's cool new little trick. No, he's not crawling. No, he's not walking. He's still rolling over like he normally does. But, you know, hey, he'll get there. Maybe one day. But seriously, no. So the really cute thing and the really nice thing that I've been liking is he can do this now. Say, I can hold my own bottle and feed myself. This is so very nice, because then when he does his typical, I'm going to eat a couple ounces and then be done, Mom can just give him the bottle and then go do what she needs to do, and he can feed himself. Huh. All right, everybody, well, thank you for watching. I hope Harrison's update gave you an idea of what can be expected with a baby 2 weeks out of surgery for craniosynostosis. Of course, everybody's going to be different, so his case is going to be different from, you know, another child who's had a different version of cranio. So just take, you know, my story and take it as, you know, just another one. Example. Thank you, Curtis. I can't talk right now. Anyways, well, thank you for watching. I'm going to go get dinner finalized, and I will see you all later. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow, and have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.